Hello, everyone, and welcome to Automation Consulting Services YouTube channel. I'm Matthew, and I'll be walking you through this video today. So today we have a really special one for you. This is a YouTube scraper that's going to use an AI agent to help to filter through videos, and it is a very, very powerful tool that I'm excited to show off to you all, whether you are a business owner or executive who understands the power of content marketing. Maybe you're a content creator yourself on YouTube, or maybe you're just curious and you want to gather some more data about different YouTube videos or channels. This video is really going to open your eyes to the power of the YouTube API. And using this open source software, n8n, which you can run for free on your computer, we're going to see that there's a ton of data at our fingertips, which we can use to enhance our own videos, enhance our own content, and our own marketing efforts, and really drive a lot of business for ourselves and drive a lot of top line revenue sales. So let's run this. And as it's running, I'll explain to you how it works. So we're going to search for videos on YouTube. And let's just search for videos related to n8n. n8n. And we'll send that off. Unpin the chat output. We're going to do that. Unpin and send. Great. We'll hide the chat as it's running. So I'm going to explain to you what's going on as it's running. So we put in our chat input. It's going to go and get all the videos related to that chat input on YouTube, up to 50 videos, organize the data, and then it's going to go get specifics for each of those videos, view count, comments, likes, etc. It's going to organize all that information. It's going to further organize the details and create little variables for us to run. It's going to generate a URL for our videos, and then it's going to sort through the 50 items. This is actually an AI agent here that's helping us. You see 50 items are sorted through, and then it's going to send through all the items that meet our criteria. And you can see there's just 19 items. We're going to get a little more YouTube data, and then we're going to add it to a Google Sheet. And here's our Google Sheet right here. So you can see here we have our 19 items sorted through. And these are all of the YouTube videos from the last few days related to n8n. And so these are going to be the top videos because that's what we were sorting for. But you can see pretty powerful. And this is what we're going to be showing you in this video. So if you want to learn how to do this, if you want to run this for free, virtually for free, I might add, you have to pay, a couple cents to make an API call to OpenAI. Stick around in this video and we are going to get into it. We're going to show you step by step exactly how to do this. And just like Michael Scott wanted, we're going to explain it to you like you are 5. So stick around and we are going to get into it right now. All right, so step 1 is going to be going to n8n.io and we are going to get started for free. Again, we're assuming that you have not created an account before. I'll be creating an account. A fake account will just be Joe Smith. Our company email is going to be this throwaway email. And just fill out this information. You can skip this. And we're ready to start automating. All right, and so once you have gotten into n8n, we're going to start by uploading our credentials for this project. We're going to need 3 credentials in order to make this project happen. We will need the YouTube credential, the OpenAI credential, and the Google Sheets credential. Those are all API credentials. So we're going to walk through how to get those set up in your n8n account right now. So you're going to come over to where it says credentials, and then you are going to add your first credential. We're going to start with the YouTube credential, which is going to be the most complicated. So type in YouTube OAuth 2 API. Now, in order to set up the API call in n8n, we're going to need to get 2 pieces of information from Google, the client ID and the client secret for our API. So let's just name this appropriately. We'll just say YouTube API, and I'm going to put in John. I won't save until we put in the credentials correctly. So let's hop over to the Google Cloud Console. So open a new tab and then just type in Google Cloud Console. And we're going to go to Google Cloud Console. You're going to have to set up, if you've never been here before, you will have to set up your account. And it'll look a little different than this. You can press start for free or whatever it prompts you to. You will need a Google account to log in for this, so just be aware of that. If you have any trouble setting up a Gmail, just reach out in the comments, but that should be self-explanatory. And what we're going to do is you're going to see there's a lot of things going on in here, but as long as you have a project created already, your first project, we're going to go to APIs and services, which you can quick access here, or you can get at it from here. APIs and services. And what we need to do first is to set up a credential. So we're going to create a credential. There's going to be two things we need to create, an API key and then OAuth 2.0 client ID. OAuth stands for Open Authorization Protocol. So we're going to come up here to create credentials. And we're going to create an API key first. So we've created our API key. You just need to copy this down somewhere, or you can leave it in the console, and we're going to grab that later when we need it. And then you're also going to come in and create a OAuth client ID credential. And we have to configure the consent screen for this. Let's press Get Started. And let's type in our app name. Let's call this YouTube Automation. For your support email, you'll just want to type in the email that you're using. It's connected to the account. We're going to press Next. This is going to be an internal app. Actually, I'm sorry, we can't do that because it's not a Google Workspace. Make it external. Press Next. Contact information. Just include the same email that you have put in previously. And press Next. And then you're going to agree to the Google's terms of service, and you're going to create. This is what we need to get to anyway. So press Create OAuth Client. And press Web Application. We can just call this to n8n client. n8n is going to be the client. We're going to scroll down. We need to add a redirect URI. So this OAuth 2 client ID that we're setting up here is going to be the little box that pops up on your screen, which authorizes n8n to access our YouTube information. So press Add URI, and then we need to navigate a tab back, and we need to get this OAuth redirect URI. So we're going to click to copy that. You can see it's copied to our clipboard. Let's go back to the other tab and just paste that in. And that's going to be the URI that we need. URI is just another way of saying URL. It's more of a developer way of saying URL. And you can see here we have a client ID and a client secret. So we're going to take that client ID. We're going to go back to n8n. We're just going to drop that in. Then we are going to go back to here. We're going to take the client secret. And we'll go back to n8n and drop that in the client secret space. And don't press sign into Google just yet, because we still need to create a test user. If you don't do that, it won't work. So we have our OAuth client ID, and press the navigation menu. And we're going to go back to APIs and services. And if you feel overwhelmed by this project, it is a bit overwhelming. Learning how to use all these APIs takes time, and it also can be a real challenge to keep up with the APIs as they change. You can see I'm struggling to click around, even though I know my way around the Google API. So if this isn't something that you want to do, but you want access to these automations, please reach out and connect with us at Automation Consulting Services. This is what we do for a living, and we are more than happy to talk to you and set up a relationship with you to do work for you and become your partner in saving you time and money, especially if you're a small business owner or medium-sized business owner or a business executive. These automations can really save time, which will allow you to drive more revenue for your business and also save more money for your business as well. All right. So that aside, we clicked on APIs and services. We're going to click on credentials here, and we are going to come to our OAuth client ID. And we need to add a test user. So we're going to come to audience here. And if you don't do this, it will not work. So come to audience and test user, and then click add test user, and you're just going to type in your username, your email rather, that you're using for this particular account. And then once you put that in and press save, it should take so you can see it said that it didn't take or is not eligible, but it is down here. So we're going to go try it out and see what happens. Let's sign in with Google. And this is the account that we created. So it says Google hasn't verified the app. Don't let that scare you. Just press continue. And you need to give n8n.cloud access to everything in the Google console. And you can see our connection was successful. So even though YouTube said that it didn't work, it looks like it did. And there's just one more thing that we will need to set up as well in order to make sure we don't run into any errors. Come up to your search bar here and type in YouTube. And you're going to type in or click on YouTube Data API v3. This is the most recent YouTube API. And we just have to make sure we enable the YouTube API. And that'll take a minute. We're going to let that do that in the background, and we're going to go back to n8n. All right, so we have connected our YouTube API. Now we need to go and connect to OpenAI. We want to add another credential. We'll come up to create workflow and press that, and we're going to create another credential. So you can also do this inside the workflow. We're just going to set it up beforehand because it'll make things a little bit easier, and we can do this all at once. We're going to type in OpenAI, press continue, and we need to go and get our API key from OpenAI. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So we're going to go over and open a new tab in OpenAI, and we're going to type into the Google or into the search bar platform.openai.com. We're going to sign up. And we'll go through the sign up process. We'll continue with our Google account, or you can use another account if you'd like. This is faster. Will be John Harrow here. And you can fill in the information you need to in order to get through. If you don't want to share your birthday with OpenAI, I think that's more than acceptable to put in a fake one. And we'll just type in, we'll say we're very technical. Creating an organization, we'll invite our team later. And we can generate an API key here. I'm going to show you how to do it a different way. And you will need to purchase credits as well if you want to make any API calls. So I recommend doing that now. Just setting that in, purchase some credits. You have to throw in a credit card. I'm going to opt not to do that. And once we're in here, I'm going to show you where we can go to get the API key. So just come into the search bar here or hold down Control K on your keyboard and type in API keys and then press enter once you see this highlighted. That'll take us to our API key. We're going to press this or this to create a secret API key. Let's just call this YouTube n8n automation. We haven't defined a project. We'll just make it the default project. We'll create the secret key. And then we will have our key, which we can use to make API calls, which we'll need for this project. So you can copy that, put it somewhere safe, and head back over to n8n AI secret key. And so all we need to do now, as long as we have loaded up a little bit of cash onto our account, is just drop in that API key. And just for the record, we will be using the 4.0 mini model, chat model in this particular n8n workflow. And that model costs, I think, 60 cents for 1,000,000 output tokens and 15 cents for 1,000,000 input tokens. So, and a token is about, I think, 3/4 of a word. So you're getting about 750,000 words for every, I guess, every input, right? Every 15 cents that you, 15 cents per every 750,000 words that you put into ChatGPT for it to read, and then 60 cents per every 750,000 words that ChatGPT outputs for you. And just as a little reference, that's about 9 to 10 300-page books worth of text. So 750,000 words. Just a little context. So for 60 cents, and you put in $5, not just 60 cents. For 60 cents, ChatGPT will output 750,000 words for you, about, give or take. It's not exactly that, which is about 10 300-page books worth of content. So lots and lots and lots of pages. So we're going to save that, and this will just double check that everything is connected correctly. We should get the green connection tested successfully, which is great. And the last credential that we need to set up is the Google Sheets credential. So we'll just type in Google Sheets. And we want the OAuth 2 without the trigger. And this one's very simple. You can just press sign in with Google and connect your account, select all, and continue. And this is called an OAuth 2 window here. Great, that'll close out shortly, and you can see our account was connected successfully. And this will set up as well. The last thing we need to do to get this connected successfully is just go back to the Google Cloud Console and then type in Google Sheets. And we just have to make sure that's enabled. And as that's enabling, we're going to go back to n8n, and that should be all set up for us. And so now what we are going to do is create our workflow. So let's go into, or just hover over the Create Workflow button here. And then we can zoom out a little bit, and we will go to the description on this YouTube video and grab the JSON that's there. And then you can just upload, or I'm sorry, import from file, and just drop in the JSON. Name the workflow something like YouTube video scrape automation. Press enter, that'll save it. And now the workflow is saved. So you can zoom out with this, or you can hold control on your keyboard and push your fingers in and out on your trackpad or mouse. That'll allow you to zoom around quickly. And we're just going to go into each one of these to start. We're going to go to each one of these red nodes here and just check out our credentials. So these will be YouTube nodes, and then this is Google Sheets, and then OpenAI. So we go to YouTube OAuth 2 API. That's good. It loaded automatically. So if we go back out to the canvas here, we should see that the error went away. The same thing should happen here. Yep, it'll load automatically with whatever your name is. Let's check OpenAI and make sure that happens. Great. Went away, and then YouTube one more time. And Sheets, we should have our Google Sheets account, and we could change that name if we wanted to, but that is our API credential. So this should run for you once you copy this Google Sheet. So you need to create this Google Sheet. Just click on this here to create a copy. And once you do that, I've created my copy already. You should just be able to map the nodes that are here. And we need to change the document to copy of YouTube videos. We'll make the sheet 1. And then we will leave, actually we're going to map automatically. I'm going to take that back, we'll map manually. So this should all still work. These are the names for each of the columns on the Google Sheet. You can see if we open up that Google Sheet, make a copy of the copy here. We have channel name, subscribers, video title, views, likes, comments, video duration, date published, URL. And if we go back into n8n, we'll see that those remain the same here. And if you wanted to change these columns at all in the Google Sheet, you could. So if I added this in here, insert right, and we say thumbnail URL, we could throw in the thumbnail URL, say we wanted to do something with that, like get a summarization from ChatGPT, and you can see here it's asking us to refresh the columns. And it doesn't get rid of any of these because we kept the names the same, but it just adds a new URL. So I'm going to get rid of that for the purposes of this video. And we'll delete it here. And yeah, let's just run this again just to make sure that it works. But because we set up all the credentials and because you have imported this exact JSON file, it should run as intended. So let's add this and let's just look up videos related to search engine optimization. And it will return the top 50 videos for that. And it didn't like the changes that we made. It wants us to refresh. Which we can do. That was just because we deleted that column, and you can see it does execute successfully. And it adds in everything we wanted, all 36 of those videos. with the sub counts, views, likes, comments, the video duration with this YouTube format, 13 minutes, 49 seconds, and then the URL as well. And so let's just walk through exactly what's going on in the automation here. So that should have run on your machine if you followed all those setup details correctly. And then we'll show you how you can tinker around with the automation to get what you need from it. So the chat node is going to be the trigger. You'll just click on that node. We'll hide the chat here, but if you want to start it, you just double click on that node and it will, let's hide the chat. You just click open chat and that'll start the node for us. This is going to get the ID data for the videos. You can see we've named everything correctly. This is our YouTube API endpoint. If you're not familiar with APIs, every API is going to have different endpoints that you can call in order to get different pieces of data. And we're using the predefined credential type because it's in n8n. The YouTube OAuth 2 API is the type of credential. And then we have our credential in here as well. And then we're calling a few different parameters here. Parameters just allow our query to be more specific, or a request to the API, to the server, our API request to the server. So you can see max results we have at 50. We really don't even, this is the max number of results you can get with one call. So there is a way around that if we wanted to create a loop using the next page tokens. And let's actually grab, if we go to executions here, we copy this to our editor, we can actually look at the info that's being grabbed. So let's go in and I'll show you. So the chat input was search engine optimization. That's going to be what is being sent as the queue, the query to this API endpoint. We're looking for search engine optimization. We're looking in the region code of US. We just want US videos. We're trying to, take out any other countries or languages. We have the max results set at 50 just to ensure that we do get the full 50 results that we're allowed to get with one API call. The order we have set to view count, because if we don't set an order, we actually will get a number of videos that have, very few views, and those will be a part of our 50, but we just care about the videos that are high performing, right? That's for this particular use case. That's what we're interested in, high performing videos. And this is an ISO date string, which will allow us to calculate in milliseconds. Or it takes the date and turns it into milliseconds. And so it's published after, and then this is the number of milliseconds that equates to 3 days ago. And so that just allows us to search for videos that have been published in the last 3 days. You could change this to, whatever you want, though. If you're looking for videos from last week, last month, or you want a specific date range, you could have a published before and published after parameter. The relevance language is English. And then the type is video to make sure we don't return any other data that YouTube has. And you can see this is going to be the output. So it's going to return this page. See, there's only one item here, but then in this page, there's a number of items. So on the next step, we're going to split out each of those items. So you can see here, we took the items, of which there are 50, and we added that to our fields to split out. And so what that's going to do is generate a table for us that's going to split out each of those pieces of information from each of these items. So kind, e-tag, and then the ID. It's going to have the kind and the video ID. And ultimately what we're trying to do is just organize our data so that we can get at this video ID. This is really the piece that we care about. So that just makes the data a little easier to manage. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make another GET request using the HTTP node. And we are going to use this API endpoint this time, because this is an API endpoint that's specific for video data. And we're going to keep our predefined credential type, YouTube OAuth 2 API. We're going to use our API credential that we loaded in. And then we're going to use these query parameters in order to get the information that we want. So ID, and we're going to add the video ID, which we can just drag in here. And the parts that we want are the content details, snippet, and statistics. And so it's important that we input these values just like this in order to get the information that we want. And you can see over here, we have our snippet, which will return all of that information. And then we have, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have our snippet here, which is going to return all this information, everything that's under it. And then we have our statistics down at the bottom as well. And then our content details. So all the information under here is being returned for each of these values. And then our key. So we have the API key here, which we actually don't need because we are using a predefined credential type. So that's just an extra. You can delete that if you'd like. And then if we move on to the next node, you can see we're going to organize again, right? Because we got, first we were searching for videos under a specific category. We got back the video IDs. Then we searched each one of the video IDs to return a whole bunch of information on each video. And that returned to us in items. You can see we have all these items, all these pieces of information on each video item. But we just want to split out certain specific pieces of data from the video that are going to fit into our Google Sheet. And so you can see here that we're just splitting out each of these items in our data. And then we're going to set variables just to make things a little bit easier for us to work with. So we have our title, our views, our likes, comments, the video ID, the dates, and the channel ID. We have all that information so that we can just easily get at it later. And you can see what we're doing is just in our snippet, we're just grabbing the title and just dropping it in right here, just like that. That's all we do. So if you say you wanted to grab the description, you could easily grab, you could change one of these if you don't want one of these pieces of information, or add a new field and just drop in description. And the same thing for the views, right? Just finding in this is in our statistics node, right? Have our view count, just dropping that in. And then for each video, it's going to output that likes, right? In our statistics as well, just dropping in likes. And you can see over here, the output is this very neat table that has only the information we want, rather than outputting all of this. You can see how cumbersome and burdensome this is to deal with. Over here, we have just the information we want, very neatly organized, very easy to access later on. So to just show you where we are in the flow, we're right here, reduced to necessary details. One detail we don't have is the URL, which is a nice thing to have. So we have this snippet, which is generated with ChatGPT, which will essentially reconstruct the URL based off of the video ID. and the formula that YouTube uses in order to create each URL, which is just using this base URL /watch, and then the question mark, which is a query. It shows the start of a query, and then we have V for video equals, and then the video ID. That's all the YouTube URL is for each video. And so then once we generate that YouTube URL, we'll be able to add that to our final data as well. But we'll also, if we go to our details here, what we'll also see is that we can increase our page size, is sometimes we're going to be pulling in information which is not English. So you can see here, that looks like Hindi or Bangla. Sometimes we'll pull in French, even though we're sorting for, say, more Hindi. Even though we are sorting for English and we're looking for US, again, this looks French to me. So we're just doing a final, with our AI agent here, we're just going to be doing a final sort of these titles so that we only get the relevant titles that we want. So we have our ChatGPT node hooked up. We're using 4.0 mini. And then the last pieces of data that we want are pieces of data related to the YouTube channel. And so what we're going to do for that is we're going to use this YouTube node, which is a built-in n8n node, connect our credentials, make our resource channel. The operation is going to be a get request. And then for the channel ID, we just take the channel ID field and we drop it in. Again, this is pulling back from our earlier data. This little asterisk just means we want to get all fields for the channel, so you can see what it returns here. It's returning all this information on the channel, including the number of subscribers. This is the total view count for the channel, number of videos posted. And so then we can just organize the data a little more and set a subscriber variable. And then finally, at the end, we can add that data to the sheet. And you can see we went over that already. And that is the entire video. That is the walkthrough. And so these sorts of automations can definitely be run by you and set up from home. But you can see there's a lot of steps. If things aren't functioning correctly, it can be very frustrating. And if you are a business owner or a business executive, you might just not have time to explore this, and you might not have time for your team to explore this either. But at Automation Consulting Services, we can help. So if you reach out in the comments or grab our email from our YouTube channel, we are happy to help, happy to consult with you on how we might be able to help you automate your business. To do something like this, maybe you have some other ideas from this video related to automating YouTube or other social media platforms. But pretty much anything is possible with automations, depending on a business's budget and what they're looking to do. But we at Automation Consulting Services hope that you have enjoyed this video and gotten something out of it. Please like the video and subscribe, and drop us a comment as well if you have any questions about the video. And we will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye now.